wearing the crown. And I was so prepared. It's a mess back here. Don't look. Don't look. It's a mess back there. It's forgetfulness, one of the side effects of getting the vaccine. Or is that just me all the time? But yeah, I got the vaccine today. First shot and my arm feels like it's burning. My arm feels like it's burning. I gotta work tomorrow. But I have water. It's also super warm. And I don't know if that's because I ate some soup right before the stream, or because it's warm outside, or what it is. I honestly do not know. Oh, wait. Turn down the music, actually. There we go. But my arm is super sore. Sore. Yeah, it was a joke with Thomas in one of his Let's Play videos. Basic Joyride videos. I did that! Damn. But anyway. That was chapter 4. But yeah, I'm actually really glad that I, what did I do? What's that called? I'm really glad that I changed the chapter numbers from 5 to 3 a stream for this book, because I really have no energy to right now for some reason. No, for some reason I say, even though I got the shot today. It feels like my arm is extremely heavy and just dragging me this way. It's weird. And I'm glad I got it on the left arm, because if it had been the right arm, well. I'm right-handed, so. Are you ready? Oh, I love that. I had some water in the freezer for an hour and a half before the stream, so it's nice and cold. I'm going to be drinking a lot of water these next few days. I feel like I'm slurring. I don't want to slur. I'm going to be drinking a lot of water these next few days because I can feel a headache coming on, and that is most likely due to the fact that I just got the first shot and I haven't drunk enough water. Hello, Eden, and thank you so much for following. Oh, thank you so much for following. Okay. Okay, what's happening? What's going on? Are these like just like a follow bot? Is that what they're called? Yeah, I think they're like follow bots. Cause like, what the fuck? That's so many. The fuck is going on? that are... Cause like... 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, cause... It hasn't updated with the newest 4... 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7... There are so many! I think actually it's a bot. I think it's a bot. Cause I remember seeing one of Rambo's bots, and there came all these weird what you call it, usernames up on the latest follow, like super fast and for a long time. And he said it was like these follow bots. So I'm pretty sure these are not going to update. What the feck? I have no idea what's going on. That's not happened before, so... Okay, y'all can stop now. I'm scared. I mean, I got an achievement. I got the achievement, what is I bidding 1? Like, I'm slightly scared. What the fuck? What? Recently completed. What is thy bidding 2? Reach 200 followers? I'm sorry, that's no, it's not going through everyone that are already following, because I don't recognize any of these names. And like, yeah, this is absolutely a follow bot. Because it says that I got the achievement for reaching 200 followers, and I know. What? Oh fuck. Yeah, I only got 39. So like, the fuck? What is happening? I think I gotta turn off sounds for that. Actually. Because this is getting annoying to listen to. Sick. No, that's... Wait a sec. Let's... a lab box. There. Okay, you can't see the alert box anymore, so I don't know if you can also not hear it. I just turned it on again. The alert box on again. I am so confused. I am legit so confused. What? What the heck? Damn. It says I have 407 followers. was not what I did not expect that to happen on in the start of my stream. What the fuck? Is it because I mentioned that I got my first vaccine shot today or something? And someone big was like, yeah, you know what, followers, go and follow this person. I'm so confused. Oh, I'm so confused. These are gonna disappear in like tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm probably gonna be back to 39 again. I'm so confused. Well, this definitely got some energy to rise again. Confused energy for the energyless person. I'm so confused. The fuck? Sorry, I can't stop laughing because it's so stupid and weird. But anyway, to any legitimate new followers, hello! I read books. I read a dragon book series called Wings of Fire. And I draw. Because my computer can't handle playing Minecraft and Little Nightmares even though I wanna. So I got, what's that called? A donation goal, that's what it's called. I can't words right now. So I got a donation goal over there for like a new computer and 2 monitors. Gotta be fancy, you know. But anyway, I have a button down in my panels. Donate button. And I also have a button for my Redbubble, where I have my turtle designs up and running. So yeah. Anyway, 3 chapters today. I'm just gonna see how long they are, because the last 3 chapters were 15 pages long, so these are probably also gonna be 15 pages long, maybe? Which is why I shortened it down to 3 chapters instead of 5 per stream. Oh! 10.5, this one. This chapter is only 10.5, so that's cool. Okay, I gotta see if it's like giving me any more followers or it's gone back to normal. Cause that was so weird. That was so fucking weird. It still says I have 407. Like, what? How did it go from 39 to 407 in like 1 minute? That is so bizarre. I don't actually know if the button works, because I'm technically not affiliate, but you can work around not being affiliate and still getting donations if you use Streamlabs OBS, which I do. So it should work, but I don't know. Maybe. And if it doesn't work, you can just go to my Redbubble. And get some pride turtles. Anyway, it's been 20 minutes. We got a bit sidetracked by all those weird follows that came. Got a little sidetracked. Let's get back to business. To defeat the hands. Sorry, had to. Okay. Chapter 4. The plan was to sneak away in the middle of the night. That sounded like something a hero would do. She would set off on her quest alone, boldly but quietly, without giving anyone a chance to talk her out of it. Peril could imagine flying bravely into the night. And even better than that, she could imagine the scene the next morning when Clay found her gun and threw back his head and cried, "No, Peril, she's gone to save us all. She's so noble and self-sacrificing. But what am I going to do without her? Oh, the unbearable pain." But here was the problem. When she kept going with that scene in her head, the next thing that happened was Sunny or Tsunami or Starflight showing up. And then one of them would say something like, "Oh hey, maybe she's run off because she's actually evil and in cahoots with Scarlet after all. And or, I knew we couldn't trust her." And it all went downhill from there. Peril didn't want to leave Clay wondering what she was really up to. She didn't care what the others thought of her, but in all the world, Clay was the only dragon who saw more good in her than bad. She didn't want him to even have a moment of, is Peril really as dangerous and as unstable as everyone is telling me? She clearly had to say goodbye to him. Clearly she had to say goodbye to him. That was obvious. It wasn't just that she wanted to see him one more time, or that she was hoping he'd tell her not to go. No, none of those. It was for his own sake, really. She waited until the halls were quiet, and then she slipped out of her sleeping cave, which was as bare and empty as the day she'd stepped into it. Everyone else in the school had to share their sleeping cave, but then no one else could accidentally burn up her clawmates just by rolling over in the middle of the night. Clay had offered Peril a cave closer to the other students, but he'd seemed relieved when she refused it. So hers was close to the dragonettes who ran the school instead. Ah, that's sad. But that's also okay. But PayPal is being annoying. Stupid PayPal. So hers was close to the dragonettes who ran the school instead, but she still had to go through the main central cave to get to Clay. Which is where she nearly ran into Turtle for the second time that day. Seriously, if a dragonette insisted on flopping like a lumpy boulder in the middle of a dimly lit cave, wasn't it his own fault if he got set on fire? Ah! Why are you always in the way? She demanded, backpedaling to at the last minute to avoid stepping on his talons. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense, actually. It always says I have to affirm what card I want to use. It's like, that kind of makes sense. Also, I think I need to get this down a bit. Yeah, that's better. Am I? He said sleepily, lifting his head. Not usually. I don't think. All the dragons go around me or over me pretty well. You won't be pleased if I go over you, Peril pointed out. Why aren't you in your own sleeping cave? Turtle gave a little shiver. Feels weird in there now that Umber is gone. And all the rest of my winglet too. I should have gone with them, he mumbled. Not if they're all dead now, Peril said sensibly. If Scarlet has killed them, then staying here was obviously the smart choice. He sat up fast. And Peril had... I'm trying that again. He sat up fast, and Peril tilted her head, trying to read his expression. Alarmed or horrified? Anxiety? Guilt? All of the above? No, Turtle protested. Are you crazy? That would be even worse. What if you're right and they're all dead and I could have saved them? Really? You? Peril said. I do not appreciate your skeptical tone, he said, sounding briefly like an actual prince. Just because I don't particularly like danger or uncertainty or exercise doesn't mean I couldn't be useful in a fight. Aw, I like Turtle. He's adorable. Peril paused, trying to figure out how to say what she wanted to... Yeah, ew, exercise. Peril paused, trying to figure out how to say what she wanted to say without the skeptical tone. Really? She tried, infusing the word with as much enthusiastic curiosity as she could. You? Turtle burst out laughing. You're so weird, he said. I'm not the one sleeping in the entrance hall, Peril said, asking to get trampled or scorched. Well, the other thing is that Tsunami isn't back yet, he admitted. Sort of waiting for her. Uh-oh, Peril said. He gave her an anxious look and she added quickly, I mean, that probably doesn't mean anything. Anything involving decapitation, that is. You have this uncanny ability to say whatever's opposite of comforting, he observed wryly. That wasn't comforting? She asked. How about... I'm sure she's fine because a sea-wing dragonette like her could never possibly catch up with a full-grown skywing like Scarlet. Oh, unless it was a trap and Scarlet ambushed her. Turtle wrinkled his snout at her, and Peril shifted on her talons. Okay, I know, I heard it that time. But it was a snap thought, wasn't it? Oh, my nose is itchy again. I don't like that. He turned to look out at the stars. So, what do we do? He asked. Some more dragons to look for her? What if Scarlet ambushes everyone? We don't know how many dragons she might have working for her. What if this is her plan and she kills everyone we send off to Tsunami? She can't kill me, Peril pointed out. I'd like to see her try. Turtle gave her an odd, glittering look. You're right, he said. You and me, we should go. That's what Wait, no, she said. What? She can definitely kill you. Maybe not, he said. Anyway, Tsunami's my sister. My winglet is out there somewhere. You hope, Peril interjected. I mean, yes, they are. Turtle lifted one of his wings to show her, tilting his head. Sorry, I'm gassy all of a sudden. So someone's coming, he whispered. Hide! He ran over to the enormous gong in the center of the hall and dove behind it. Startled, Peril twisted around in a circle before she found a shadowy corner where there was an overgrowth of stalagmites to hide behind. Oh my gosh, I hate... There is stalagmites and stalactites, and oh my gosh. I hate these words. She tucked herself into the darkness and whispered loudly, Why are we hiding? Shh, Turtle answered. Peril tried to remember the last time she'd ever hidden from anyone before she'd met Turtle. Maybe in the Kingdom of Sand when she was trying to sneak up and burn Stronghold to rescue Scarlet. Yeah, they are. Still, it's so weird to say. Those words are so weird to say. But hiding was not normally her approach to problems. Why hide when you could always set your problem on fire? Now she could hear voices approaching. One of them sounded like Clay, who was exactly the dragon she was looking for. Except now, if she popped out of her hiding place, he'd be like, what are you doing back there? And it would look so weird, and maybe suspicious too. Thanks a lot, Turtle. What is it with this dragon and eavesdropping? Some soldiers should be enough to guard this place, Ruby's voice said. Peril heard 3 sets of talons enter the cave, and she pressed herself closer to the floor. And with luck, we'll be back in 3 days. I don't want to be away from the Sky Palace for too long. I have someone waiting for me. Why are you oohing? Or... ing? Thank you, Queen Ruby. That was Starlight, the Nightwing librarian. Did your student tell you anything else we should know about? Ruby asked. Oh yeah, it's a mic. I can have an echo effect. These buttons. Woo! And I can turn up and down the volume here as well. I don't have like a soundboard or mixer or whatever they're called. It's just a mic. But it's really cool, and I do that, and I've started doing that when dragons are like thinking. I like that. That way, you know when a dragon is thinking and when they're not. Big brain, yeah. Did your student tell you anything else we should know? Ruby asked, apart from the disturbing news about my mother's new ally. Not much, Clay said with a sigh. Moon's a possibility with Quibbly. Sunny is stream visiting with Glory now, so she can send someone up to the town to take care of Kinkaju. Or Kinkaju, Starlight said softly. Uh-oh, Peril thought. She had seen the bouncy little rainwing from a distance, but mostly she'd only heard about her from Clay. If she was hurt, he must be upset. And what had happened to the other missing dragonettes? The other missing dragonette, Winter. The Icewing who hated her. Peril would be alright with him being dead, but out of the 4 dragonettes, that is. But Clay wouldn't, of course. He'd feel all responsible and protective and worried. Oh dear, was he alright? She wished she could see his face. One last word of warning, although I know you won't listen to me, Ruby said, stopping with a loud swish of her tail. You cannot trust my mother's creature. She's unpredictable and knows nothing but killing. If you won't banish her, at least don't leave her unguarded for an instant. Oh. I can trust Peril, Clay said, and in her shadows, Peril felt her entire soul turn into a fireball. She saved my life. Plus, she's in love with Clay, Starlight added. She is. Peril wondered if anyone would notice if she flew over, ripped out his tongue, and vanished into the night sky forever. Ugh! Clay said. 3 moons, Starlight. That's not... It's not even... No. I trust her because there's good in her. And we just need to give her a chance to show it to us all. To us. Oh. She may have a fragment of good in her somewhere, Ruby said doubtfully, but she'll never be good enough for you. And if he's right, and if she ever thinks you don't love her back, she will set all your friends on fire. That's just the truth. Starlight said. For the record, I don't like the sound of that at all. Peril closed her eyes. Was it true? What would happen if Clay didn't love her? Or if he ever tried to send her away? It was a horrible, soul-crushing thought. But she wouldn't really set his friends on fire, would she? Not all of them, anyway. No! She told herself severely. None of them. Not even if it's their own fault. He doesn't love me. Not even if it's their fault he doesn't love me. But what if Tsunami convinced him to get rid of her? She might totally do something like Then could Peril just set the tiniest part of her on fire? No, because there's always a chance he might still love me one day, but he definitely won't if there's any friend burning at all. Let's not talk about this, Clay said awkwardly. Your Majesty, I'll see you back here at midnight. Alright, well, she said. You've been warned. She swept majestically out of the cave, her tail making quiet, dramatic swishing noises against the stone floor. Should I be worried? Starlight asked. Am I going to wake up on fire one day? How worried should I be? Not at all, Clay said. Peril is not going to set you on fire. I wonder if I have any scrolls about sociopaths, Starlight muttered. Stop that! Clay stamped one of his feet. I'm going to ask Sunny to dream visit Tsunami and see if she can find her. Queen Ruby will never believe Peril has changed, Starlight called after him. There was a pause as Clay's footsteps faded away. Not sure we will either, he added to himself. And then Peril heard his talons scrape against the rock as he bustled off to the library. Silence fell across the cave. Peril curled her claws in and took a deep breath. Sorry about that, Turtle said, his voice whispering across the empty space. A few moments later, his head popped around the edge of the rocks she was hiding behind. I've been doing that all my life, and I've never heard anyone say anything about me. That's because you're boring and forgettable, Peril snapped. I know, he said unexpectedly. I try to be. Well, I don't have that option, she said, spreading her smoking talons. Roar! Roar! This will be a really good time to have a dungeon full of enemies. What? He said. Why? Because, she said, when you're mad, it's useful to have dragons around that you can set on fire without getting in trouble. He rolled his eyes. Somehow I don't think Clay and Starlight would be pleased if you set anyone on fire, even their enemies. That makes no sense, Peril said. Everyone wants to see their enemies on fire. Are you telling me your mother never cheered herself up by having someone torch a bunch of bad guys in front of her? No, said Turtle. First of all, we're sea wings, so we don't have fire, remember? Secondly, my mother mostly cheered herself up by writing scrolls about all her problems. And third, she used her prisoners as bargaining chips, not toys. Our prisoners were definitely Scarlet's toys, Peril said. And so were you, it sounds like. Peril snorted a burst of flame and he jumped back. No, I was more than that. I was like a daughter to her. Alright, he said. So, what are you going to do about Ruby and Clay and all that? What can I do? She said. You heard Starlight. They'll never trust me with Clay. And they're right. I'm not good for him. I'm not good enough for him. He's good all the way through, not just in little fragments. I mean, if saving Clay's life wasn't enough, what else is there? I can think of one thing, he said. I bet it will make everyone forgive you, even Ruby. Well, Peril said, yes, I thought of that. You have to kill Queen Scarlet, he said, and I'm coming with you. End of chapter 4. Oh damn, we have 5 viewers right now. Welcome! Let's see, has it updated with how many followers I got? Because like 407, that is not right. Are you ready for a bit of ASMR? Well, not ASMR, just something very satisfying to listen to. Oh, I love that sound. It still says 407 followers. I do not... Hello! Hello and welcome! We're just reading. If you haven't read the title. But yeah. Don't let that number fool you. I do not have 407 followers. I have like... Yeah, welcome to the stream. But I do not have that many followers. It was most likely a follower bot that came in the beginning of the stream. Oh well, thank you. It's not really much. I'm just reading. Enjoying if you like watch some of my thoughts. Anyway, chapter 5. Wait, I'm just gonna check how many pages there is on this one actually. This chapter. And a half. 16 and a half pages. That's more than average. Chapter 5. The clouds swept past them like ribbons of smoke, sliced and scattered by the slash of their wings. Below them, the claws of the clouds mountains lurked like a long, long spine of a giant sleeping dragon, blacked except where the craggy peaks were studded with light from the moons. Peril could see the silver flicker of the winding tail river running along the eastern edge of the mountain range. They were about to fly over the curve where it veered east and then north again. She loved flying. And not just because she was a skywing, and all skywings love to fly. It was more than that for her. There was nothing else in her life that she could love in such a joyful, uncomplicated way. Up in the sky, she could stretch her wings as wide as she wanted. She could whip her tail and dive and soar and spin. And she didn't have to keep all her limbs so carefully close to her, watching her perimeter every moment. Up here, there was nothing to burn. Everyone and everything was safe from her as long as she was in the sky. At least, that was usually the case. She didn't normally have a sea wing flapping around on her tail. He was doing a reasonably good job of keeping his distance, but she felt a startled jolt every time she saw him out of the corner of her eye. My nose is itching again, I'm sorry about that. Peril still wished she could have talked to Clay before she left, but she wasn't sure she could even look him in the face anymore after the conversation she'd overheard. Not until I'm bringing him the charred bones of Queen Scarlet anyway. Where are we going? Turtle called from behind her. She twisted in midair to give him an incredulous look. To kill Queen Scarlet, she said. Remember, there was a whole conversation a few hours ago. I'm pretty sure you were there because I was like, you're not coming with me, and you were all, how are you going to stop me? And I was all, I can think of a pretty good way, and you were like, by setting me on fire, that sounds like cutting off your tail to spite your wings. And I was like, I could cut off your tail, and you were like, let's just go before Ruby comes back. Oh, right. Turtle finally interrupted. I know all that. I mean, where are we going to kill Queen Scarlet? How do we even start looking for her? Or my sister? Oh! Peril did a looping flip in the sky. She had searched for Scarlet for months after releasing her from Burn's Weirdling Tower with no success. What did you think would be different now? The mountains? She suggested. Maybe we could fly around them? A lot. Forgive me for mentioning this, Turtle said, but I'm getting the impression that you're not much of a planner. What have I ever needed to plan? Peril demanded. Do you know anything about my life? Here's how it went. Wake up, eat breakfast. Queen Scarlet tells me to kill one of her prisoners. I kill that prisoner, eat dinner, go back to sleep. Pretty simple. Not a lot of big decision making involved. Really? Turtle asked. Were you happy? Peril let herself drop to a warmer air current, trying to think. Happy? Was that how she'd felt back then? It was definitely easier than life after Queen Scarlet, or rather life after meeting Clay. In the Sky Palace, she had a purpose. There was a reason for her scales to be as deadly as they were. She'd been loyal to the Queen, and she thought the Queen cared about her too, most of the time. Maybe half the time. Well, some of the time anyhow. She was probably supposed to say something about how terrible it was to kill all those dragons, how it ate her up inside every night and made her miserable. But it didn't. Not back then, not while it was happening. She'd been killing dragons for Queen Scarlet for as long as she could remember. That was just her life. I had an idea, Turtle said. I bet Tsunami will head for the water if she stopped anywhere. We can check for clues down by the river. Peril was too busy thinking to argue with him. She followed him down in a drifting spiral until they reached a rocky spot along the river bank. Turtle landed in the water with a splash while Peril came down gently on the shore. She tried to aim for a spot with nothing but rocks and sand, but her tail accidentally flicked against a small shrub growing near the water. It instantly burst into flames and almost as quickly burned out into a blackened heap, shriveled branches sticking out of it like skeletal claws. Ah! Peril said, curling in her tail. Sorry. Turtle blinked at the plant but didn't say anything. He stuck his nose in the river and then shook it, spraying droplets everywhere. A few hit Peril, sizzling on her scales. Maybe I wasn't happy, Peril blurted. He looked startled and a little confused, as if he'd forgotten what they were talking about. She couldn't stop herself from barreling on, though. But I also wasn't so worried all the time. I only had one dragon to please, and I didn't always manage that, but at least I understood what I needed to do. Now, everything is confusing. I guess... I mean, which would you rather be? Lonely or insecure? The sea wing spread his wings across the surface of the water, sending ripples out in all directions. Well, he said, I've tried lonely, so maybe I'd pick insecure. He pounced suddenly, sending a cascade of water over Peril's talons, and then sat up, brandishing a fish speared on one of his claws. Hungry? No thanks, Peril said. She glanced up and down the river. Two of the moons were up, so she could see the outline of trees on the far side of the small fluttering of owls swooping through, hunting. Turtle began splashing upriver, and Peril followed him, pacing along the big river bank and avoiding anything that looked flammable. Maybe we should head to Possibility, Turtle said. We can meet up with Moon and Quibbly there and find out what happened to Winter and Kinkaju. He hitched up, his voice hitched slightly on the last word, and Peril gave him a sharp look. What was that? She demanded. Are you about to cry? No, he said, biting the head off the fish. I'm just worried about them. They're safer in Possibility than anywhere, Peril said. It's a town full of dragons, and more than half of them aren't too fond of Queen Scarlet. At least they really, really don't like being asked about her. They tend to throw things, which they also do when you set even the smallest basket of snails on fire. By accident, mind you. Frankly, I think they should rename the place Unnecessarily Violent Overreaction. In the moonlight, she couldn't tell if Turtle's expression was concerned or mildly amused. Anyway, she went on, I'm not looking for an entourage. If I take more dragons with me to face Queen Scarlet, it just means more dragons for her to kill. Is that what you think is going to happen to me? He asked. Probably, she said. I mean, wait. What's the reassuring thing to say? No. Fine. No, he said. That one's pretty easy. The correct answer is no. Oh, she said. Okay, that. But Moon and Quibbly might know where Scarlet is, Turtle pointed out. A choir of yelping frogs had been burbling away nearby, but cut off abruptly as the dragons approached. Ruby said they told Sunny something about a new ally of hers, remember? Peril frowned. How could Queen Scarlet have a new ally? Who was it and where did he come from? Yeah, sure. I will. See ya. Does she like him more than me? She caught herself with a stamp of annoyance that sent sparks flying off one of the stones underfoot. Of course Scarlet would like her new ally more than Peril. No, it was actually pretty confusing and... yeah. I mean, it's a bot. They're not actual followers. They're not actual people wanting to see what I do. You know? See me stream. So... anyway, continue reading. She caught herself with a stamp of annoyance that sent sparks flying off one of the stones underfoot. Of course Scarlet would like her new ally more than Peril. Whoever it was must have agreed to help her when Peril wouldn't. Also, more importantly, Peril shouldn't care anymore. It was habit to want Scarlet to like her more than anyone, but it was a bad habit, and she wished she could scour it out of her brain. The new ally. Was it an animus dragon? The one who had enchanted the severed head? Did that mean the other magic was lurking up ahead for them? Does that mean other magic was lurking up ahead for them? Does it seem quieter than it should? Turtle asked, pausing in the center of the river. Peril stopped and listened, too. The water shivered softly around Turtle's talons, as if it were trying to echo the rustling leaves in the wind overhead. But there were no more owls swooping, no frogs glorping. It seemed as though even the insects had fallen still. Peril slowly twisted in place, scanning the dark trees, wishing she had night vision. Was that a glimmer of silver scales off to the left? Did she just imagine the crag of a branch snapping under her talons? Snapping under talons? Yeah. Could she smell a hint of smoke in the air? And then, all of a sudden, the river exploded. Turtle let out a yell of fright as 3 dragons burst out of the water almost directly beneath his talons. They seized his wings and tail and pinned him down with a violent splash that cascaded over Peril's scales. At the same moment, 2 more dragons flew out of the forest, their claws outstretched and teeth bared. Peril whirled to face them, flinging her wings open. Try to grab me! Just try! A dazzling thrill darted through her like lightning. These dragons were attacking her. She could totally set them on fire without getting in trouble.
I'm not being bad, Clay. I'm just defending myself. She flexed her talons and tried to squash her grin. Don't touch her, Turtle bellowed, thrashing around like a vomiting whale. It'll kill you. Her scales of fire. The two dragons skidded to a stop just out of her reach. Their claws left grooves in the pebbled sand, and their wings flung a blanket of hot air in her direction. Way to spoil my fun, Turtle. Although, yes, fine, warning them was probably the Clay-approved thing to do. He's right, she said, glowering at her attackers. I am Peril of the Skywings. Perhaps you've heard of me. One of the dragons was a big red skywing, and Peril definitely saw her flinch and take a step back. But if you'd like to find out whether he's telling the truth, come a bit closer and we can do a fun experiment. She spread her wet front talons in front of her and smiled wickedly at the coils of steam still rising from them. It's true, said the Skywing. I recognize her now. Stay back, Cirrus. The other dragon, a severe-looking Icewing, gave Peril a scornful look as if he highly doubted anyone, even a Fire-Skilled dragon, could possibly be a match for him. Ooh, please try it, Peril thought, giving him an innocent expression. So it's not scarlet? Asked one of the Sea Wings. The Skywing lashed her tail. No, this is Peril, who might be worse. I beg your pardon? Said Peril, genuinely offended. Maybe you haven't heard. I'm friends with the Dragonets of Destiny now. I don't set other dragons on fire anymore, not unless they provoke me, she added, shooting the Icewing a fierce glance. That is one of the rumors going around, said the Skywing, but we all know a dragon can't change scales. Maybe not, but I can change my mind, Peril said defiantly, unlike some dragons, apparently. I've not only heard of you, little monster, said the Skywing. I was one of the gods sent after your mother when she tried to escape with you. She took a step toward Peril, lashing her tail and looking murderous. Avalanche, said one of the Sea Wings softly. Careful. My biggest regret, said Avalanche, smoke billowing from her mouth and ears, is that we didn't kill you then. I don't care what that crystal got away, but if I'd known Scarlet would keep you alive. Wait, said Cirrus, flaring his silver-white wings. Did you say it's crystal? Avalanche gave him an irritated look. Yes! What? Crystal of the Skywings, Cirrus said, big, red, grumpy looking. You've just described 50% of all Skywings, said the Mudwing sitting on top of Turtle. The other half is big, orange, and grumpy looking. What does she have to do with anything? Cirrus asked. She was this creature's mother, Avalanche said. The one who wouldn't hand her over to be killed. Crystal. Cirrus frowned, carving deep canyons across his forehead. That can't be right. Crystal never had any dragonets. Ha! Avalanche muttered. We all wish that were true. Did you know her? Peril asked Cirrus. He was shaking his head, but there was something weird in his expression. I doubt you would have met, said the Sea Wing who'd spoken before. She joined the Talons of Peace before you did, and then she was assigned to guarding the Dragonets on the ground before you came to us. Once the Guardians went into hiding with the eggs, most of the Talons of Peace never saw them. But you did? Peril asked the Icewing again, Cirrus looked as if a pile of ashes was slowly turning back into a dragon right before his eyes. But was he happy? Angry? Confused? She couldn't tell what he even thought about Crystal, although he was clearly feeling something. No, he said, shaking his head again, more vigorously. Not. That is, only by reputation. Peril wondered if he was lying. How could an Icewing have known her mother if they didn't meet in the Talons of Peace? Can I go back to my menacing story now? Avalanche demanded. Oh, let me skip to the ending, Peril said. You failed to catch or kill my mother as she escaped. You were punished. Then you discovered that I was still alive instead of flung off a cliff like most fire-skilled dragons, and you've been seething about it ever since. Which is funny because I have never had even one thought about you in my entire life. Avalanche glowered at her for a moment. Peril flicked her tail gently, casually, and a clump of reeds burst into flames behind her. Oops, she said. There was something very satisfying about how the sea wings yelped and went scrambling around, splashing water over the fire with their wings. Of course, Peril had really done it to see that expression of powerless fury on Avalanche's face. Are you in league with Scarlet? One of the sea wings asked breathlessly when the fire was out. We heard she was recently seen not far from here. Do you know where she is? No, Peril snapped. We're looking for her too, Turtle offered, his voice muffled by the mud-winged tail draped across his face. I mean, he added hastily, not to join her, to kill her and stuff. We need to have a chat about oversharing, Turtle. Who are you? Peril demanded, hoping to turn the tables on them. We're from the Talons of Peace. My name is Nautilus, said the green sea wing, who'd done most of the talking. We spotted you flying, and we've been tracking you for a while. There were several groups out looking for an orange sky... Oh, he wasn't done talking. There were several groups out looking for an orange skywing tonight. Since I'm clearly not Scarlet... That wasn't her. That was Turtle. Since I'm clearly not Scarlet, said Turtle's squash-sounding voice. Is there any chance I could get up now? Oh, yes, sorry. Nautilus flicked his tail at the other two dragons, motioning them away. The Mudwing scowled as she heaved herself off Turtle's wings. How did you know Scarlet was around? Turtle asked, stretching his wings and neck with little cracking noises. Did someone see her? One of your alleged friends, in fact, Avalanche sneered at Peril. Tsunami tried to chase her, but when she lost Scarlet not far from here, she came to the Towns of Peace for extra help. Nautilus puffed up his chest. With all of us looking, Scarlet won't get far. Tsunami's with you? Turtle blurted. Where? Can we see her? We have a message for her. She's out hunting Scarlet with Riptide on his group right now, Nautilus said haughtily, but I can pass along anything you want to her to know. Alright, tell her Glory isn't dead, Turtle said. Tell her it was a trick. It was a different dragon. Glory is fine. Glory is fine. You have to tell her that as soon as possible. Nautilus and Avalanche exchanged glances, and Peril realized that now they believed them. So maybe Turtle's forest fire approach to blathering information was not so terrible after all. Hello, said the other sea wing. I think I know where our patrol went. He spread his wings and took off from the water in one smooth motion, like an island suddenly whisking into the sky. Nautilus watched him go, but Peril saw that the Icewing, Cirrus, still had his glittering eyes on her. Are you wondering if my fire works on Icewing scales? She asked him. The answer is yes. Your wings and talons and face will melt and shrivel into ash, just like anyone else's. I know from experience. We're not going to release them into the wild, Cirrus hissed at the others, ignoring her. You said it yourself. She's even more dangerous than Scarlet. Wow, you have a very confused and amusing view of this situation, Peril said. We're not your prisoners. You couldn't take me prisoner even with an army of Icewings. Not even if all of them had arrogant foreheads like yours. There isn't actually a world in which you need to decide whether to release me. I released myself a long time ago, but thanks anyway. Ow. My arm really hurts now. She thought she was actually showing remarkably noble restraint here. He was basically asking to have his talons scorched off. We have no reason to hold them, said Nautilus. Especially since you literally can't, Peril pointed out. Maybe she needed to set something else on fire to make this point. Hey, we're all on the same side here, Turtle said. Avalanche snorted, sending tiny puffs of smoke out of her ears. We all want to catch Scarlet. And where are you going to look for her? Cirrus demanded. We're going to Possibility first, said Turtle. Not that it's any of your business, Peril said, giving Turtle a stern look. To find our friends, Turtle added, as if stern looks completely meant nothing in his universe. Please tell Tsunami that too. We will, said Nautilus. He nudged one of Turtle's wings with his. It was one of those casual things Peril saw dragons do to other members of their tribes all the time. In this case, it was the kind of touch that she guessed meant we're both sea wings, so in the end we'll stick together. Nobody had ever nudged Peril that way, apart from the fact they would probably kill them. No other Skywing had ever wanted to acknowledge that they were in the same tribe. There was this whole language of nudges and tails, flicks, and wing brushes that Peril couldn't speak, except with Clay. But trying to speak it with Clay made her feel like a dragon with no tongue and no ears. What did it mean when he brushed her wings with his as he went by in the tunnels? Did it mean, I love you as much as you love me, even if our deep, powerful feelings cannot be expressed aloud? Or, don't worry, I see how nervous you are, but remember, I'm always here to take care of you. Or, it's a dark world, Peril, but you and I will stand in the fire and be safe because we have each other. Sometimes she worried that it just meant hey, but she couldn't ask him. She couldn't let him know that she was even weird and more confused than he realized. Good luck, Nautilus said. You too, said Turtle. I hope you die, Avalanche said to Peril. I would say it's mutual, said Peril, except that I'm going to forget you exist in about a minute, so I don't actually care. She was rewarded for that brilliance with another expression of helpless rage. That's right, you self-righteous fish nose. I learned a few things from Queen Scarlet, who could burn dragons without touching them. Shooting a scornful look at Avalanche and Cirrus, Peril leaped into the sky with Turtle not far behind her. As she wheeled to fly north, she thought about what she'd said to Avalanche. I'll forget you exist in a minute. I don't actually care. If only it were true. That was the end of chapter 5, and end of part 1 of the book, actually. That was not a long part. Usually the first part is quite long. It's a bit longer than just 5 chapters, but anyway, part 2 is called Possibility. First, hydration. Chapter 6. They flew north toward Possibility for 2 days. 2 days of soaring over the mountains. 2 days of arguing over whether to even go to Possibility at all. Although in the end, Peril gave in because she couldn't think of any better ways to track Scarlet. I need to check how many pages in this chapter, by the way. $13.5. Okay. She quickly learned that Turtle didn't have half the stamina she did for long flights. That was probably a sea-wing, sky-wing thing. Or possibly a turtle would rather be napping than exercising thing. They had to rest ridiculously often. He would find a lake and float around, moaning about his sore wings, while she swooped in ever-widening circles, scanning the ground with sharp eyes. There was no sign of Scarlet anywhere, though. Once they saw another wing of dragons, who were probably from the town's peace, giving the different colors of their scales. But he was too far off in the distance. Perhaps they'd heard about the encounter by the river because they didn't come over to investigate Peril. Peril also spotted several sky wings spiraling around the mountain peaks. She wondered if Ruby had sent out more soldiers to search for Queen Scarlet. Ruby's throne was in danger now that everyone knew the former queen was definitely alive and out for vengeance. Until someone killed her, Scarlet would always have supporters in the Sky Kingdom. What if one of them decided to kill Ruby on her behalf? I bet she wishes she'd been nicer to me now. You'd be a better guard than me. She isn't dangerous. That's exactly what's awesome about me. That's why she needs me. I should be right next to the queen, not banished from the whole smoldering kingdom. But then, if she stayed with Ruby, she wouldn't be anywhere Clay was. I mean, I was stitching, I'm sorry. So I'll do this one thing for Ruby. I'll find Queen Scarlet, turn her into a pile of ashes, get all redeemed and hardened, and welcome back everywhere, and then return to Clay as a beloved Skywing who can go anywhere I want, and be with anyone I want because I'll be a hero too. Peril did 3 backward loops in the sky, waiting for Turtle to catch up. She could see the rosy, fuzzy glow around the ridiculous fantasy she was building in her head, but she couldn't help it. She still kind of believed it would come true. It could come true. Turtle flapped up, panting a little. I think, he wheezed, someone might be following us. Really? Peril scanned the horizon behind them. They were out of the mountains now, flying over the rocky sloping hills that led to the river plain, and then north to Possibility. This much of the town was visible in the distance. They could probably reach it by nightfall. Well, she could, if she were flying alone. With a gasping sea wing on her tail, they'd probably have to sleep on it and get there in the morning. In any case, the landscape below and behind them was relatively flat compared to the claws of the Clouds Mountains, so it would be hard for a dragon following them to hide. I don't see anything, she said. That grove of trees back there, Turtle pointed. I thought I saw a dragon dive into them when I turned around. Peril squinted, trying to figure out if she could see wings moving in this scraggly clump of wishful forest. One way to find out, of course, would be to go set the trees on fire. It didn't seem worth the effort, though. Was it an orange dragon? She asked. No, Turtle said. A lark, I think. Peril shrugged. Alright, whatever. She lifted herself to another current so she could spin around at a safe distance from Turtle and began flying north again. Really? Turtle said, beating his wings to keep up. We're not worried about that. Why would we be? Peril asked the muse. As long as it's not Scarlet, who cares? It's not like anyone can hurt us. Well, me. No one can hurt me. I guess you are welcome to worry.
Oh, thanks very much, Turtle said. That's not true. I'm sure dragons can hurt you.
How? Peril demanded. No, they can't. I'm fine as long as I don't listen to them. They're all stupid anyway. Who cares what a bunch of ruby bud noses say? Not me, that's for sure. I mean, come over here and tell me that with my talons up your snout. Ha!
He gave her an odd look. Actually, I meant with a spear or frost breath or something.
Oh, Peril said. I guess maybe. The dragons in the arena never had spears.
And their wings were bound so they couldn't fly, right?
Turtle asked. Peril frowned at him. I didn't fly while we were fighting either, she said. That wasn't to make them easier to kill. It was so they wouldn't be boring and run away.
You mean be sensible and run away? I actually need to turn this up a bit. Hello, Turtle said. He twisted around to look behind them again. Nothing. Whoever it is still hiding.
Or you hallucinated it? Peril said grumpily. Frostbreath doesn't do anything to my scales, by the way, and I bet a spear would burn up before it could stab me.
Not if someone threw it at you really hard, Turtle mused. Then it would be like, bam, spear through the heart, and even if it did then burst into flames, well, too late.
This conversation is fun, Peril said. Next, let's talk about all the ways you could possibly die. I have a few ideas.
Or if Scarlet has an animus, she could enchant something to kill you. Turtle pointed out. Then there's nothing you could do about it.
But if she could do that, Glory really would be dead already, Peril argued. And Ruby. Those are the two she would start with. I'm only like 7th or 8th on her list, probably. So I'm not going to worry about imaginary animus dragons until those guys start turning up dead.
She felt silent abruptly, realizing that Clay was probably on Scarlet's top 5 on her to be murdered list.
Maybe I shouldn't have left her alone. Maybe he's the one I should be guarding all the time, day and night, never leaving his side.
She let herself imagine that for a while before coming back to reality with a sigh. No, the best way to protect Clay was exactly what she was doing. Going after Scarlet.
How are you going to find your friend's impossibility? She asked Turtle. It's a big city, full of dragons who have irrationally negative feelings about me, and too many wooden buildings too close together. I don't like it. For the record, it's a stupid place.
You've mentioned that, Turtle said, glancing over his shoulder again. Can we rest for the night and figure it out in the morning when we get there? My wings are so sore, I swear they're about to fall off. I've never been in this much pain ever. Peril traced the river below them with her eyes, up to the town in the near distance. It was so close. Then again, why was she hurrying to get somewhere she didn't even want to be at all?
All right, Peril said. Let's find a spot with fewer trees and more rocks.
The sun was sinking way out beyond the desert when they came down to land near the river, in a spot where giant boulders overlapped one another halfway into the water, and small rapids burstled noisily around them. I'm so sorry, my nose is so itchy right now. Peril tried to be careful, but there were too many patches of moss, and she felt a twinge of familiar guilt as some of them curled into blackened ash below her claws. Also, as she settled on the boulder, her tail slipped into a little pool nearby and immediately boiled the 2 fish swimming there.
They floated to the surface. White bellies turned up to the purpling sky. Shoot, Peril said. I mean, hey look, dinner! Turtle splashed over through the river, speared one of the fish with a claw and winched. Ouch! I don't think I could ever get used to eating hot prey. It's such a weird feeling in my mouth. I've never eaten prey any other way, Peril pointed out. It's always black and crunchy. Little like the black rocks Queen Scarlet tricked me into eating when I was younger. The queen had convinced Peril that because of her fire scales condition, she needed to eat a certain kind of black rock every day. It could only be found in the mountains, and Scarlet took charge of Peril's supply. I'm the one keeping you alive. That's what she always said. But it was a lie. A trick to keep Peril confined to the Sky Palace and dependent on Queen Scarlet. Even though Peril had always obeyed the Queen's every order, Scarlet still never trusted her. What did she think I would do? Run away? Try to steal the throne? Join the Towns of Peace? Think for myself? Peril shook off that thought with a growl. It wasn't personal, though, she had to remind herself. Queen Scarlet manipulated everyone she came into contact with, not only Peril. Well, that's just sad, Turtle said, and after a minute, Peril realized he was still talking about how she only ate burnt prey. He rolled his shoulders back and forth, stretching his neck and making agonized faces at his sore muscles. You should try it in a normal way. Here, open your mouth and I'll throw some in. He snared another fish from the river beside his boulder. That sounds insane, Peril observed. What are you talking about? Keep your mouth open and the fish won't touch your scales, he said, placidly ripping the fish into small pieces. That way it won't get burnt, and you can see what it tastes like to most dragons. Dubiously, Peril stretched her jaws wide open. A fish head smacked her in the eye. Yuck! She roared, surging up with her wings flared. Try that again, Sea-Wing. I'm sorry, he yelled. Sorry. I missed. Here, let me try again. She eyed him suspiciously. He looked not so much deeply repentant as trying to hide his giggles. Did you do that on purpose? She demanded. No, I swear, he said. But I don't have very good aim, not a lot of practice. Give me another chance? Growling softly, Peril opened her mouth again. The next two pieces sailed straight past her head, but the third finally splattered between her teeth, and she snapped her jaws shut around it. It felt like a cold, slimy frog had just leaped into her mouth. She chewed for a moment, as long as she could bear it, and then swallowed fast. No, she said. Definitely no. Horrifying amounts of no. That was 100% disgusting. Turtle laughed. You're so wrong, he said. It's awesome. That's how fish should be eaten. Blech, Peril said strongly. She hopped to the next boulder, heading toward the shore. I'm going to find something that is the opposite of fish. Scorch it and then coat my tongue with char to get that taste out of my mouth. Yuck! You are the worst. I should be so justified on setting you on fire while you're asleep tonight. Duly noted, Turtle said serenely. Did I mention I'll be sleeping at the bottom of the river? You know, if you're looking for me. He grinned at her. Peril paused on the river bank, squinting at him. She had been joking, of course. There were a number of excellent reasons not to set Turtle on fire, which outweighed any potential benefits to doing so. But it unsettled her for a moment to realize that by sleeping in the river, even by standing in the river right now, he could foil any plans she did make, if she ever needed to burn him up. Not that I would, probably. I most likely would never need to, and I wouldn't want to, of course. That too. But she'd never run into a situation where someone could stop her like that, apart from Clay. Maybe I did have an unfair advantage fighting sea wings in the arena. If I were fighting them in their own part of the world, somewhere they could go into water to escape, or even drag me underwater with them. She didn't like that train of thought. She didn't like one single thing about it. I'll be back in a minute, she snapped. I'll be here, agonizing to my woe-begone wings, he said. She stomped off, ignoring the trail of scorched grass she left in her wake as she searched the shoreline for prey. After a few minutes, a hare bolted out of a burrow in front of her, and she was able to catch it and wolf it down. On her way back, she caught sight of Turtle lying on one of the boulders. The sun was halfway down, casting warm orange light across his dark green scales, and the sea wing was doing something odd. She paused to stare at him for a moment. It looked as if he was rolling a small river stone across his shoulder. What are you doing? She asked, coming up behind him. He jumped, looking fascinatingly guilty. There's definitely something not right about this. Nothing, he said, just trying to work out the kinks in my back. I've never flown this much before. So you've mentioned a few hundred times, Peril said. Can I see the rug you're using? Oh, this, he said, just a rock I picked up from the river. He held it out casually, the smooth, grey-white stone looking like a hawk's egg in his webbed talons. Does it really help? She asked. He said, a little. He rolled his shoulders again. Anyway, I'm tired. I'll see you in the morning. He dove into the water and vanished below the surface, taking the rock with him. Peril sat down on her boulder and flipped her tail over her talons. It was hard to tell in the growing dusk, but she was pretty sure the blurry shape of Turtle was still applying the rock to his scales in the water. That was weird, she mused. He could have stayed up here and talked to me for a little bit longer. Did he think I was going to steal his rock? Is it some kind of sea wing secret I should know? River rocks can heal them or something? That sounded pretty implausible, even to someone who had been raised not to know much about all the tribes. Maybe he was simply trying to get away from her. Maybe he'd finally realized, like every other dragon in the world, that she was a terrible dragon to be friends with. But he'd been laughing with her only a few minutes earlier. Doesn't matter, she thought fiercely. Whatever it is, that's just fine. He can keep his secrets and stop being friends with me or whatever he wants. I can always go back to Clay, my real friend. You're not that important to me either, Sea Wing. She lay down and closed her eyes, but sleep was a long time coming. End of chapter 6. And the last chapter of the day. One more satisfying. Okay, my arm really hurts a lot right now. Ow. Dagnabbit. Ow. Well, it's been a weird stream today.
be a weird stream. At least in the beginning, we got like bots, a follower bot, a follower bot. Oh my gosh, that was so weird. Anyway, yeah, I am going to end stream now. My arm hurts like hell, and I need to stand up and everything. It's only 8? Really? Huh. Anyway, I also think I need to take a shower today because I've been sweating today. Too much. I've been sweating too much today. It's been super warm It's still super warm right now. So yeah. I hope you had fun. Yeah. I hope you had fun listening to me read again. It's fun reading for me. I have fun reading, so I hope you have fun listening to me read. Anyway, remember to hydrate. Do not dehydrate. If you do, I will come after you. Remember to always treat others the way you want them to treat you. You know, just be kind overall. It's really not that hard. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow with another drawing stream. I'm thinking we just do some turtles tomorrow. Some pride flags. Pride turtles tomorrow. Or I'm also redrawing my Cloud Angel. So I could also be doing that as well. Who knows? Anyway, bye.